Hey, Ghost Machine fans, this one's for you.
Welcome to the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast, episode 87. A delicate peace struck between the infernal realms and the heavenly host is in danger of being broken by the mischievous maladies of a renegade angel and demon. What mysterious forces have gathered the Hornsby and Halo families in the city? It's time to find out with a deep dive back into Ghost Machine's family Odysseys. I'm Nick, and as usual, I'm joined by my better half, Snoggle. My dear, we started the day at 0 degrees outside in fair Cincinnati. It's still darn frigid out there. I'm ready to talk about some comics. How about you?
I'm super ready to talk about some comics. Better than talking about how absolutely cold it is outside. Hell has frozen over. It's so cold. I know this week we're doing 11 and then we've got 12 too. So I'm excited to talk about the Family Odyssey.
And it's going to work out well because 13 comes out later this month. I know everyone out there, we typically try to do our deep dives on the date of release, but in this case, this works out rather well. So we're happy to be back with another Family Odyssey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But before we do it, we've got to shout out a new friend of the show, and that's Panel Play _comics TT. I'll spell that out for you. That's PANEL, like a comic book panel, PLAY, like the thing you do with a controller, _ comics, plural, COMICS, and then 2 T's, Panel Play _ comics, double T, for their recent collaboration on a really cool Rocket Fellers Volume 1 trade paperback post. We also had Saka Comics, Comic Panel Mania, and Comics Out of Context on that post. And they had previously collaborated on us with something similar. So glad to see Panel Play Comics, TT, joining the mix.
I am too.
But enough about our new friends, because Snoggle has some news to share.
So by the time this episode airs, we will be in nuclear winter week 3. We have given away a Redcoat Volume 1 trade paperback and a Rook Exodus number 7, the 1 for 20 retailer incentive variant thus far. This week, we are giving away a copy of the Hyde Street Volume 1 trade paperback. So make sure to get those holiday entries in, and hopefully all together we can defeat this nuclear winter.
Yeah, all kidding aside, it's pretty darn rare that Cincinnati sees sub-zero temperatures.
They canceled our son's school today.
They did.
Listeners.
They canceled it with no snow coming down, no snow yesterday.
Nope.
They canceled it just because of the temperature, and he was a happy camper about that. Yeah, so the holiday giveaways keep on a trucking, and we're only on number 3 right now. The final giveaway will be happening the Monday before Christmas is when it's going to be announced, which is December 22nd, and we're going to announce that winner on the 28th. But the Hyde Street winner is going to be on the 21st of 2025. And if you're one of those people that found this episode well after it aired, then we appreciate you hanging out with us in the future. But that's enough about this nuclear winter that we're all enduring in the Midwest. Let's talk about the fine covers that are available to you if you need to still go pick up your copy of Hornsby and Halo number 11. So our first cover is a Peter Snaberg and John Calise, the usual suspects on the main title. Really love this cover. This is one of my favorite Snaberg joints in a while. What did you think, Snoggle?
Well, I think it was really appropriate for October, first and foremost. Even though it is December now, I like the color contrast. I mean, it's just good. We got a headless horseman. We got those red eyes on the horse with the moon in the back. Very well done.
Yeah, and it works well for me too because of the context within which that we see the headless horseman in this issue. You know, I like comics that kind of allude to a thing happening and then it's not the exact thing that happened. Because one would see this and say, oh, hey, they might encounter the headless horseman, you know, but then you get the context in the book and it's a little different, but it's pretty awesome. I do feel that Peter and John's talents really shine in this particular cover. The second one is by a pair of artistes that I am not familiar with. So this is our B cover, and it's by Ted Brandt and Rose Stein. And Ro is the colorist. Ted is the artist. I'm assuming the inker as well, from what I understand. And it is Zach and Rose at a door like they're doing trick-or-treating type of deal.
And again, very on brand for the month that this was released in.
Oh, yeah. And I like a lot how Zach's got this look on his face, like he's shrugging his shoulders and kind of smiling, like, yeah, it's not really appropriate for us to be here, but give us the candy or whatever. Yeah. So welcome to the party, Ted and Ro. Hopefully we can see some more covers from you guys in Ghost Machine's many universes.
Welcome, welcome.
And that makes this your official spoiler pause for Hornsby and Halo number 11. All right, we're here. We made it. We're back. And we need to know who's responsible for this fine Ghost Machine comic book. Snoggle, can you give us a creator roll call?
Our creators are Peter J. Tomasi and Peter Snegard. And we've got John Calise, who is our color artiste. And, as always, our king of letters, Rob Lee.
Rob Lee. I like seeing the color artist verbiage used for both John and Brad Anderson. I don't think these books have always said this, right? Like up until recently, they said colorist.
I'm uncertain. I think I've seen it both ways.
So I love how this issue begins because if you recall, we have not seen hide nor hair of those giant creatures that have like the bellies that can absorb something that we don't know much about. There was a couple of issues since we've seen any of them. And this helps us bring it back to that. I don't know about you, but this first scene made me have like a real like kind of Goonies vibe.
Yeah. Like I couldn't tell if they're really like teenagers dressing up. I mean, they still were collecting the fish. So we start the book off with this group of teenagers in a rowboat, and their light source at the front is a pumpkin. They've got a cooler full of beers, and they're taking dynamite and throwing it into the water.
To kill the fish and make them float to the top.
Not to sound silly, I guess I don't know a lot of... I don't know that... I guess the fish would be good, but wouldn't some of them be kind of like obliterated?
I hadn't thought about that. I've seen this practice somewhere before, and I would assume so, but I think it also kills enough to make them just kind of like float to the top, and then you can grab them. But the way that these guys are talking, I realize this isn't really the point of this scene, but they talk about this as if this isn't their first time rowing out into the middle of the lake, throwing dynamite in the water and getting the fish, because they're saying like, well, you have to row and then somebody else has to flip a coin to see who's going to clean the fish. And it's like, okay. But it does sound fun. It just sounds more like an activity that I envision kids in the like 70s doing.
Yeah.
But I'll take it.
And then we turn the page. This panel is awesome because you see the one kid or young adult male saying like he's not going to do it, basically, and you just see this giant fist coming out of the sea to smash them. The color on this is awesome. Like, oh, I love it. And he smashes down, and we get the. That's what that is. And the little pumpkin floating down.
Very poetic.
So sad.
Yes. So we're not going to go out of order, but the bio in this one does tell us a lot more about the hollowed ones. And it does say in that bio that their like purpose or what they do is they devour anguish. So I'm just curious, although I know we know that they don't like they're kind of mindless or whatever. I mean, I know they're devoid of emotion, but this one seems like he wanted to smash that boat, and so I want to know more about why.
Might have woken him up from his slumber.
Maybe. Who knows? But the hollow
suck those people into his chest void.
Yeah, chest void. Hello, chest void. And the holiday theme continues. John really does a good job of keeping it orange because there's like it looks like the town calls it the Big Blaze. And that's a Halloween celebration where everybody brings together a whole bunch of pumpkins and other pumpkin oriented and Halloween oriented things. Very like epic small town Halloween-y.
Lots of jack-o'-lanterns here. And I agree with you. It's a great use of color where, yes, we have orange, but so many different variations of orange that bring actual light to it. That it's not just like, oh, a black and orange page. How original. No, it looks great.
And it's just so vibrant. It just screams Halloween, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point, Zach is talking to one of their friends, and she's saying that she is scared of witches because her dad made her watch The Wizard of Oz at too young an age. And Zach says, don't worry, witches aren't so bad, Julia. It's the flying monkeys that always scared me. I just seemed pretty specific. I wasn't sure if he was just, I mean, it could just be him referencing the movie. Yeah. And it may not be anything beyond that.
Yeah, just being nice to a classmate.
Did you notice how their teacher or whatever responsible adult that is talking to the kids and explaining what a Hessian is?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's a underlying Ghost Machine staple because of the Battle of Trenton.
100%. And remember how we had to Google it?
To see if they were Germans or whatever? And
we were like, we think they're Germans. And then we were like, now it's a fact that I just know. But I do like that it said that's what Germans were called back then. And he's telling this story essentially about the Headless Horseman. And he's setting up for them to get spookified.
Right.
Who has my head?
Yeah, because a very realistic looking Headless Horseman pops in. I like Rob's font choice on the Who Has My Head.
Uh-huh.
It kind of has
a little pop of green is nice.
Some slapsticky feel. It makes you feel like, oh, this isn't real danger. But correct. I'll take it.
Well, and then everyone's like panicking, right? And I love that in the background it's just Rose and Zach standing there, very calm and collected. Think we should scream? Nah, let's just enjoy the show. And then afterwards, like, we get to see all these teenagers running out, like, I want my mom, I'm so scared. And the teacher, where's Zach and Rose? Are you kids okay? Zach almost gave me a heart attack. Just Rose, I tripped and fell. That horse looks so real.
Well, if you don't see their poses that Peter put them in, it's like priceless because
Yeah.
Zach is very obviously monotone. Almost gave me a heart attack holding his hand
over his heart.
and Rose is so exaggerating her emotions. But if I'm understanding this correctly, what Peter are trying to tell us is that because of what they've seen so far, they now forced to be more mature than these other kids because they know that there are things beyond this in the world. Like, it's like their innocence was stolen by these experiences, which is ironic.
Mm-hmm. It is.
It is funny too, though. Yes, it is very funny the way that it's positioned. Like, I like how he says, "Time to go along to get along," just so that they'll leave them alone, essentially.
And then they leave the place afterwards. So it was obviously some sort of field trip.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose is drawing on the bus, and Zach's just kind of, I feel like it's a playful flirtation. I would not call it romantic, but he picks on her, you know?
Yeah, they do have a rapport. Is what I would, because they're going back and forth about, she's drawing Sydney, he's calling him a pharaoh, she calls him an idiot, but it's clearly an endearing idiot. So I sense that they have developed or are developing a kinship due to their rare circumstances, which is common. Like, people that go through really tough, crazy stuff often build relationships, or people that are in unique situations together build relationships that they might otherwise not. It's kind of like the whole point between this whole thing, this whole comic. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to me how she says, like, when they're talking about trick-or-treating, I don't have any interest in dressing up and pretending to be superheroes or monsters this year. And the emphasis, you can tell that it's like they know real monsters now, and they know real magic now, and they've seen crazy stuff, even though they still barely have any concept of how any of this is working. It really, I like the relationship that they have, and I like that Peter is able to paint it in a way that doesn't blatantly say one day they're going to kiss and date. Because there was that scene when they did the play together where she fell on him or whatever, and they had like a moment. But since then, it's been more like they have a vibe, like they have a good vibe and less romantic-y.
And I'm here to say that I'm okay with those moments. You know, I think that the age that they're at and real life relationships develop, like it'll be a slow burn. If that's the trajectory we're going on here with these opposites attract. But it isn't like in your face, you know, a YA romance novel. Mm-hmm. Don't come for us, Twilight fans. I think we're safe.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
So then they both get dropped off at their prospective homes. And I will say, when Zach walks in, his parents are talking on the phone. And I want to know if this is on purpose, that the mom seems to, her face forever is evolving and getting more and more fake.
Oh, like literally fake?
Mm-hmm. Like, she keeps on spending her money on facelifts and lip stuff, and I don't know.
Yeah, she definitely has that look to her.
Mm-hmm. But he walks in the door and they say, "Hey, we're going to the city and you're coming with us." And he doesn't want to. And they're like, "It's a family trip. We're going." And he is perplexed because he doesn't get asked to go do things. Like, his parents aren't, "Hey, let's spend time together. Wouldn't that be awesome?"
Yeah.
So I instantly was thinking something was up.
Well, is it ever clarified why he was invited?
I don't know.
Ultimately, the people that want to get them to the city are Beazle and the mail carrier angel person.
Right.
That name now. And so maybe that's somehow, the circumstances fall into place that way, one way or another. Because we've seen his family leave him for days at a time before to go skiing.
And Rose walks in a much more lighthearted, happy, oh my gosh, we're going to the city. Someone's going to donate $500,000 to the center. And Rose is pretty mysterious. Like, do we not see the red flags here? They're like, I'm sure they're just so good that they don't even think that someone could be bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's the largest donation they've ever received, but they probably got a lot of them. And their way they're describing it, the dad justifies it by saying that I think, they want to meet in person because that's how they make the final decisions. Actually, that's what the mom says. And so I don't know, it's a little weird, but it's another one of those where she wants to stay home, kind of like Zach wanted to stay home. And the mom's like, no, we'll bring you with. And she clearly doesn't want to go. She's got a bad attitude about it. She's got this sarcastic look on her face, rolling her eyes when she's doing the dishes. And she calls it a Hornsby family Big Apple adventure. Yippee. So that's another reminder, like people got to be reading this comic. And I'm not saying I don't know how many people read this comic. More people need to read this comic because the whole point of her getting annoyed when doing those dishes, she's not just a kid who wants to be left alone. That's the nature in her, the demonic nature in her, that's always kind of peeking out a little bit. And it's just like we see that Zach has the opposite peek out a little bit. At the same time, though, his parents, they are something of an influence, I guess, because then we switch back to them. They're packing up to go. And he wants to drive, and he even convinces them to drive by saying, I drive, you can both talk and text for over 2 hours.
I love the look on his face here. He's really trying to sell it. Just cheesing. All teeth. That's an all too smile.
Totally. And I mean, I guess it must just be because he likes to. Because there doesn't seem like there's anything other than the fact that his dad says speed limit, and he actually says only 10 miles above it. And his dad says, Zachary, if a state trooper, so he's referring to an officer, doing something. This is relevant because later, ironically, somebody else says almost the same thing. But the mom says, just relax and let the boy drive. It's like,
yep.
Did you notice their license plate?
Yeah, cremate you.
That's pretty funny.
These people, I do love that we can tell it's Halloween. I'm like, look at these beautiful upstate New York fall trees.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful.
You did good, John.
Yeah, very, very good. And then, he's driving along, looking cool. He's got the shades on. It looks like that is something that is required of this family. And he goes, hey, there's Rose and her parents. And I love both of his parents. Why are we stopping? And that their problem is not our problem. And then we turn the page and it's just all of them in the car together. I love that bit of storytelling. There was no back and forth. Zach wasn't like, we need to help them. It's the right thing to do. He just pulled the car. We go from them asking him, what are you doing? We turn the page and they're all in the car together. It's comical.
Yeah, it reminds me of a scene in a movie or a show.
Mm-hmm.
Like it fades out, then it fades back in, and then they're all annoyed. And there's all these like positivisms that the mom is providing. But then the dad, in making conversation with the bad or evil dad, so Rose's dad, in making conversation with Zach's dad, he asks about letting him drive. And then Zach's dad says, little highway experience early is a good thing for kids, eases the stress and nervousness when they're licensed on their own. And it's like, well, 5
Wild.
minutes ago, you were worried about a state trooper, man.
I like Rose's mom. How lucky are we that you were driving by and headed into the city too? It's setting us up for something bad's going to happen.
And they have a little back and forth. It's just so, it's a great way to highlight there's some good people in this car and there's some bad people in this car. And they do it with their body language. They do it with their verbiage. They do it with their eye contact. Even the way that Zach's dad looks back at Rose's dad from behind his glasses in the rearview mirror is condescending.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
But it is
there's only one question, and that is, can we get a lift home?
And everybody laughs at that one. Both families appear too, but it gives us an opportunity for this little aside between Zach and Rose where they're both like, yeah, this is some really weird coincidence. Something's going on.
And the dog and the cat are also side-eyeing each other in the very back of the car, which I think is adorable. A much-needed panel.
Yeah, we do see a lot more of them in opposition in this issue. They're always staring each other down. And it makes me want to know about their long-term history more. Remember how in the original bios we know that those animals are thousands of years old or whatever?
So I think it's really interesting when I like the storytelling. So they get to the city, right? And each family is checking into their respective hotels. Obviously, the Hornsby hotel room is not very nice. And the dad, very nice. It's got the window unit AC thing. Your typical hotel room. I wouldn't say it's bad, right? I'm not judging. I would stay in a hotel room like that. And when you compare it to the dang near penthouse suite that the Halo family is staying in, where they have a balcony and there's a huge view and they're super high up. Yet, so it's like from the outside, not knowing all the facts, people would think, wow, Zachary Halo is so lucky. But his parents won't even let him have a bottle of water from the fridge. They're willing to spend this much money on a hotel room, but not a bottle of water from that fridge. And without even asking for water, Rose gets water from her dad. Hey, you don't feel good? You probably need some water. But they both got that headache, which is suspicious.
Mm-hmm. The parallels continue in that regard. We see them both seem dehydrated. And I feel as though when the dad tells him to go downstairs across the street to a deli and get a water there, that's his reprehensible moment with his son for the issue. He's got to have one. He has several in this one, but that's the worst one.
Yeah.
Because he knows his kid doesn't feel well.
Well, don't drink water out of that fridge. You got legs, use them.
Because that's how they're going to get you at places like this, through the minibar, you know. And that's true in his defense.
That is true.
And it's pretty quick to see how straightforward things are with the Halo family's, I guess not benefactor, but like evil interested party. It looks like they're in front of an antique place, and they literally have an attaché case full of miscellaneous jewelry and expensive things.
Stuff they stole from dead people. And this seemingly shady businessman gives them money. And as soon as they leave, they're like, don't suspect a thing. We see that it was actually our sneaky little demon. And thank you for the use of your office, Baldy.
Yeah, it was Diesel.
Yeah.
And there is one small detail where Mr. Halo is like, I'm curious, how did you hear about us? And he deflects. And that is one of those little nods to like, hey, yeah, this whole thing is kind of weird. Somebody actually called you, knew you do this activity, this illegal activity, and wanted to buy this stuff off of you. It's just like that means that their vanity and criminal tendencies are vastly overshadowing any sense of logic whatsoever. Like this could have easily just been a sting, and they would have been in jail.
That's very true. And then we switch to the Hornsbys, and we've got this very nice businesswoman whose name is supposedly Lauren Weaver. And it's like she's gonna give them $500,000 cash. It's like they have, both the dads had hesitations. I'm concerned about this being a cash donation. So, to Mr. Hornsby. And Mr. Halo, also, I'm curious, how did you hear about us? So both of the dads definitely hesitated. But it seems like, well, okay, it must be fine.
And Rose's dad is worried about it, the fact that it's cash in particular.
Yeah.
And it's another thing like what you just said, where after they leave, she pokes her head around the corner and we see that the real Miss Weaver is tied up in the other room. And it is our angelic mail carrier who's been trying to disrupt the peace between the infernal realms and the heavenly host for a while now.
Yeah. And meanwhile, we've got Zach went to go get that water, gives half of his food for a fellow American down on his luck.
Well, this is significant because this is just like Rose getting annoyed about the family trip and saying yippee, but it's the Converse. So the person asks him for a few dollars because he's down on his luck. His response is unflinchingly, automatically, he says, no, just spent my allowance on this meal, but do you want to share half? And he says, sure. And he says, here you go. So he doesn't resent that. He doesn't mind that because he is a creature of good nature and of goodness. And I just think that's great. Smart comics.
Rose, smart comics.
Really smart comics, dude.
I agree.
People gotta read this.
Rose is playing with her dog, Tucker, and all of a sudden they both at the same time become zombified.
And the
best pastrami sandwich
and his eyes glow blue and her eyes glow red. And something is pulling them out of their respective spaces.
They put in a lot of comic elements in these stories, and I appreciate it because the fellow American down on his luck at first is like, kid, you all right? And the kid starts, Zach starts walking away and he's like, hey, kid, mind if I finish the other half too?
The show disconnected.
It's a pastrami sandwich.
Yeah.
But yeah, they start mindlessly walking towards the subway. How you like when Zach's walking down those stairs, you recognize these Halloween costumes in front of him, Nick Wilson?
Tariq Geiger, Pranky, and Sisterhood. At first I only noticed Pranky and Sisterhood. Then I saw the batons and the cloak. And then in the next panel, it's
red coat.
Red coat, somebody who's dressed like a nighttime person. And then did you notice in that same panel, there's some like nails through something? Like that actually might be the Matinee Monster.
I think it's the Matinee Monster.
And I do believe Ghost Machine and DC Comics fans that is the Doomsday Clock button. That's not a Ghost Machine reference. That's a Jeff Johns reference.
And then as she's sitting on the subway next to someone sleeping, you see that little dog? Don't you think that's a variation of
Oh, that's the Rocket. Yeah, no, that's the Rockefeller.
That's the Rockefeller's dog.
Playing a Rockefeller. Two of the Rockefellers. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's great. Love it. And not only do they wake up suddenly, they're both changing into their actual beings. What are we doing here? I was about to ask you the same thing.
But so it's another situation where they both don't remember how they got there, but then when they do get there, they both transform and they're together. And they're on the subway in New York City in that state. The camera goes back to their respective parents' rooms. Yes. And
we get the Hornsbys being all greedy and not even realizing there's some, like, not caring that their son's not there. Hear a knock on the door. Hold your horses, Zach. I told you to remember your key card. And we flip to the Halo parents. Our daughter's not here. We don't know where she's at. They're calling. And knock on the door like, oh, she's here.
And it's great pacing, also cinematic vibe, because the knocking that Rob puts on there is the same knocking in both. And then they both go to open their door and then they split the page down the middle. They split the page down the middle because both of those rooms are going to get hit with a pack of federal agents that are going to want to talk to them about their criminal activities, which is the possession of counterfeit currency, both of whom that's what they have. They got that fake money.
Which very quickly were people tipped off.
Oh, yeah. So
these angels and demons don't waste any time.
They don't. And then they also, though, to me, it made me think, oh, well, they want to separate Zach and Rose, which makes sense because Beazle and the mail carrier want to like fuel the infernal heavenly fires respectively between these two. And I can see why they would want to separate them from their parents, because their parents are the connection to the piece, right? Because that's how everything was arranged. And I like that next issue. No sleep till Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What will happen?
Who knows? This is picking up steam. I've always liked this series anyway. Obviously, I like them all, but I feel like it's picking up some new steam. And there's this great bio of the Hollowed Ones. It reveals that they were 4 celestial beings they regarded the perpetual war against hell as antithetical to their mission of peace. For their insolence, the leaders of heaven punished these angels by hollowing them out, devoid of thought and emotion, to live their endless days without joy, hope, fear, or sadness. So there are 4 of them. And it says the Hollowed One's sole function is to devour anguish, which can only happen when their bodies create black holes to suck in all that emotion. So I'd like to know more.
That's a pretty extreme punishment, Heaven.
And then it reminds us,
for the rest of eternity, you will feel no joy, have no feelings, and your only purpose will be to suck in anguish and feel it, to fill the void in yourself.
Something. Because on the bottom of the bio, it reminds us that Sydney, the adjudicator, was sucked into them. So that would mean that there's some anguish. I don't know. I don't fully understand the mechanics of this monster in Peter Tomasi's Dungeon Master's Guide yet.
Yeah, but it seems like from what I recall, because this is issue 11 and that happened several issues ago, there was some magic going on that the adjudicator was sucked in. Like, I think one of them's being controlled.
Yes, that's right. There's a nefarious purpose going on. That is for sure. Well, we've got some more Hornsby and Halo coming up soon. We're going to catch up on issue 12 and then do 13 on the day of its release. So stay tuned for that. But we have, as usual, a fantastic mail.
Let's see here. Our fantastic mail comes this week from Ted I8. That is TEDI, like an eyeball, and the number 8. And they say, Hi, Becky and Nick. I love your show and look forward to it every week. You're the only comic book podcast I listen to that is a couple. How do you guys do it? What a great question.
I think that this is a funny question because it implies that doing a podcast with your significant other would be difficult or something.
I can see why. I don't know. I don't think that, as Nick and I have been together for several years, over a decade, right? I couldn't see us working in the same office building, but doing the podcast is fun. There's zero stress. It's something we both like to do. It's stuff that we would talk about anyway. Now we just record it. The only challenges, I think, for both of us is just how busy our personal lives are.
Yes. But between recording and editing and then the promotional stuff and all the other stuff we talk about, it definitely is a lot of time out of the week. But this is a cool question. I like these questions that are just like straightforward. Like we could be hanging out, having a cup of coffee, and we could have this question posed. You have to remember that for me, I've been reading comics a long time. I read comics every day. I love comics, Ghost Machine, obviously, and otherwise. And the way we structured this is we started it when there was not a lot of Ghost Machine content out yet. And it put us in a position for me to take someone who doesn't read comics regularly. Becky reads a lot of books, but she doesn't read comics. And I was able to introduce her into the situation at the most opportune time. Like when we started this thing, it was the Mad Ghost stuff and Geiger Ground Zero, and everything else was just barely getting started. So it made it rather easy to introduce someone new to it. I love Hellboy, but it's not the same. Like there's so much content. There's so many literal decades of content. It's the same reason that sometimes people try to get into stuff with the big two, and it can be challenging because even though the stuff is written in a way so that you don't have to go back and read, years and years and years and years of stuff, because that wouldn't be marketable to new readers, it still is different. It's not coming at something from the very beginning and watching it grow and watching it evolve. And that's what we wanted to do with this podcast. But the reason it's super cool with me to have Becky do it, other than, yes, she's my wife and I love her and all those wonderful things, is because it's a real assessment and testament of taking an atypical comic book property, an independent comic book property, putting it in the hands of someone that has no predisposed anything about comics and has not read many comics to get their organic reaction. So we get this, by having Becky do this, everything, all of her observations, what she enjoys and what she says are not varnished by anything like the fact that I'm aware of all the current events in the comic book world or like other stuff that's out or stuff I've read in the past. And I really love that. So I think that's a big part of why it works for us.
Yeah.
And
so well.
It does, but we love meeting people and getting to say like, we're a married couple or boyfriend and girlfriend until recently that do a podcast together. And then like when we talk about it, it's like, oh yeah, that's not what I would have expected you to say. And so I appreciate you enjoying that, Ted, and that you look forward to the show every week. That's a very nice thing to say. So thank you for saying that as well. And, I guess the best advice I can give you is if you just go find the most amazing woman in the world to read comics with you, then you can do it too. It'll be great.
But she's taken.
Yeah, there you go. But you'll find your version. This one's mine. This one's my variant cover. You can get your own variant cover. Yes.
Indubitably.
And if you would like to check out all of our other content, you can do so by going to www.ghostmachinefans.com, where you'll see all of our different social platforms, as well as the wiki and our Discord information. If you'd like to find the invite to the Discord and come join the conversation with over 100 other Ghost Machine fans, we would love to have you. The invite link can be found in our bio on Instagram under Ghost Machine Fans, or if you go to the Ghost Machine Comics Reddit that Cameron Gill out in the UK, myself, and Flashy Transition 737 have been moderating, you'll find in the posted events deal on there that same Discord invite. And always remember, if you're a Facebook person, to check out the Ghost Machine Comics Facebook fan group. Wonderful folks. I'm in there every day as well.
And thanks so much for joining us tonight on the Ghost Machine Fans Podcast.
Headless Horseman at Christmas podcast.